There was one artist who never changed how he talked about Diddy. Not before the fame, not after the money. While almost every rapper in the late 1990s worked to earn Diddy's approval, or at least avoid his wrath, Eminem stood apart. He was the world's most feared mogul, with multiple #1 singles and connections from the White House to Wall Street. Yet in 1996, before anyone even knew his name, Eminem threw a shot at Diddy and kept pushing the line. Today, with history catching up and Diddy's power under fire, people are re-examining those moments. How did Eminem know he didn't need to play by the unspoken rules? And what was the real price of not being afraid? In 1997, the sound of Bad Boy Records dominated radio, the charts, and music television. Puff Daddy's Can't Nobody Hold Me Down hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, quickly followed by the notorious B.I.G.'s Hypnotize. That summer, I'll Be Missing You held the top spot for 11 straight weeks. Mo Money, Mo Problems replaced it at #1, with Bad Boy artists cycling through the summit for months. At the same time, the notorious B.I.G.'s Life After Death and Puff Daddy's No Way Out both debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. For most of the late 1990s, Diddy's label set the pace for what hip-hop sounded like and who got to be heard. But the reach went far beyond music. Diddy's face was everywhere, hosting MTV specials, closing out summer tours, and appearing at award shows as both nominee and presenter. His clothing line, Sean John, sat front row at Fashion Week. By the early 2000s, he controlled a hit reality television franchise called Making the Band, deciding who would make it or break on national television. For a young artist, the message was clear. Diddy did not just run a label, he shaped the entire approval economy of hip-hop. Gatekeeping meant more than a cosign. It was about access to radio spins, video rotation, magazine covers, and the right party invitations. A single call from Diddy could open doors to network executives or close them for good. Artists who played along got features, tours, and a shot at the charts. Those who crossed him risked being frozen out, not just by Bad Boy, but by the entire ecosystem that moved with him. Industry insiders described a world where silence was often the safest choice. Executives and artists alike watched what they said, aware that a stray comment could mean disappearing from playlists or losing brand deals. Behind the scenes, Diddy's circle enforced loyalty through subtle pressure, sometimes just a look, sometimes a reminder of who controlled the stage. For most, keeping Diddy happy was less about ambition and more about survival. In that world, speaking out of turn was not just risky, it was unthinkable. Yet even at the height of this power, one name kept surfacing in ways that broke the pattern. While nearly every rapper in the game learned to tread lightly, the rules did not seem to apply to everyone. Eminem's first major move in the industry did not involve chasing approval from the East Coast power players. In March 1998, he signed to Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment, a label with its own gravity far outside Bad Boy's orbit. The press release made it official. A Detroit rapper with no ties to Diddy's world was now Dre's newest project. That decision set him apart, and it changed how he had to navigate the music business. While most young artists hustled for a cosign from Diddy or his circle, Eminem built his reputation on raw skill and outsider energy. He did not need radio favors or party invitations from the gatekeepers in New York. From the beginning, he cultivated independence, and he made it clear he would not play by the usual rules. Back in 1996, still unknown outside Detroit, he recorded a track called Fucking Crazy. The line was bold, and it named names. Original Bad Boy on the case, Cover Your Face, came in the place blowed and sprayed Puffy with mace. It was a double jab mocking Bad Boy Records and its artist Mace, all wrapped in a punchline. No one in the mainstream noticed, but in underground circles, the message was clear, and Eminem proved he would name names no matter how big those names were. That irreverence did not fade as the stakes got higher. By the time he was sharing stages with the industry's most feared figures, his edge only grew sharper. In interviews and on tracks, he took aim at executives, rappers, and anyone who tried to intimidate him. Real-world tests came quickly. According to Byron Big Nas Williams, Eminem's former head of security, there was a night at the Source Awards when men linked to Suge Knight began to surround Eminem backstage. Security intervened before anything escalated. No broadcast footage or independent witness accounts confirmed the story, but the perception was real. Being in Dre's camp meant walking into rooms where Suge's reputation lingered, and still Eminem never toned down his words. That was fearless. His early years were shaped not by fear of powerful men, but by a sense of insulation. Dr. Dre's backing and Aftermath's resources created a buffer, and Eminem brought his own refusal to bow to unspoken rules. While others watched their words, he kept firing. The pattern was set long before the world was watching, and it would define how he moved through an industry built on influence and image. The story is not a classic rivalry with battles and public feuds. It is a record of distance, consistency, and independence. Eminem never needed Diddy, and he never acted like he did. The world around him changed, but his approach did not. That is the foundation of his fearlessness. In February 2003, 50 Cent signed with Eminem and Dr. Dre, bypassing every major East Coast label, including Bad Boy. The deal made headlines. Just months earlier, Diddy had declined to sign 50 Cent, citing the risk of street conflicts and public controversy. Within weeks, 50 Cent's debut album, fueled by Eminem's backing, exploded onto the charts. Get Rich or Die Trying sold over 800,000 copies in its first week, instantly shifting the center of gravity in hip-hop. That same month, the Grammy Awards brought Eminem and Diddy onto the same stage. Diddy, suited and smiling, handed Eminem the trophy for Best Rap Album. The handshake was brief, the exchange stiff. No embrace, no small talk, just a formal nod between two figures who rarely shared space. For the cameras, it was a moment of mutual recognition. Behind the scenes, it spoke volumes. Eminem stood at the top, having built his own empire with no help from Diddy and no need for his approval. The distance was unmistakable. Industry power on one side, independent force on the other. September 14, 2018, Eminem released Kill Shot, a diss aimed at Machine Gun Kelly. But one line cut deeper than any feud between rappers. The line landed like a grenade. Kells, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed. Those words revived decades-old rumors about Diddy's alleged connection to Tupac. Shakur's murder, a claim never proven and always denied. The track did not end there. Eminem followed with a half-sarcastic disclaimer. "I'ma just playing, Diddy. You know I love you." But the damage was done. Within hours, social media erupted. Fans dissected every syllable, debating whether Eminem was joking, taunting, or hinting at something darker. Major news outlets picked up the story. Headlines asked if Eminem had crossed a line that even battle rap avoids. Reports circulated that Diddy was furious behind the scenes, but he remained silent in public. The lyric did more than spark a viral moment. It reopened old wounds, it dragged buried rumors back into the spotlight, and it put Eminem at the center of hip-hop's most dangerous conversation. In June 2020, an unreleased Eminem verse surfaced online that targeted Diddy's media company, Revolt TV. The lyrics were sharper than anything previously released, and the leak spread quickly across social media. Within a day, Eminem issued a public apology, stating the verse was never intended for release and that he held no personal animosity toward Diddy or his team. The moment stood out, not as a sign of fear, but as a calculated decision to draw a line between provocation and personal attack. By the end of 2023, the context around those lyrics changed dramatically. Diddy faced a wave of civil lawsuits, 5 by December 2023, alleging sexual assault, trafficking, and abuse. News outlets detailed the allegations, and old Eminem bars resurfaced in headlines and fan debates. Lines that once seemed like jokes or industry jabs now felt like early warnings. On his newest album, Eminem returned to themes of abuse, unchecked power, and the cost of silence. Each track seemed to echo the headlines, blurring the line between entertainment and accusation. The industry's mood shifted from denial to scrutiny, and Eminem's distance from Diddy took on a new clarity. Industry power shifts, but true independence does not flinch. As Diddy's empire faces public scrutiny, Eminem's refusal to bow stands out more than ever. In a world built on silence, fearlessness becomes its own legacy. Sometimes the loudest challenge is simply never needing permission. Share your thoughts below.